Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to sit down and have a very casual chat with you guys about intuition. This is something I get questions about a lot. A lot of people tell me that they just don't know how to connect with their intuition. They don't know how to tell the difference between intuition and anxiety or fear. And they just really don't know how to identify their intuition. And I understand that because that was my struggle for a very, very long time. I would read about intuition and learn about it and read books about it. And I still didn't get it. I still was like, I don't know what my intuition feels like. I always thought that my anxiety was my intuition, and it really is very confusing. Over the last couple of years, my relationship with my intuition has become so crystal clear. Like, I fully know what my intuition feels like. It is very easy for me. It's black and white to discern between intuition and fear or a trauma response, right? So I wanted to give you guys like my best tips and pieces of advice for identifying your intuition and actually being able to know what it feels like. I have so many tips. Once you feel your intuition one time and you know it's your intuition, then that's it. Then you always are able to identify your intuition. It's like this light bulb moment where it finally clicks and you're like, I get it now. When people say follow your intuition, like now I actually understand what that means, right? And we're not talking about psychic abilities, okay? Intuition and psychic abilities obviously go hand in hand, but when you think about psychic abilities, you think about being able to predict things, right? See things before they happen, being able to peer into the future, seeing psychic visions and having psychic downloads. And that's not what we're talking about. I'm talking about your intuition, your internal compass that we all have. It's part of being human that slowly guides us down the path of our soul's purpose and fulfillment. I believe that we all come here with a soul mission to fulfill, and our intuition is what guides us there. It's what leads us there. It's what leads us to the people and experiences that our soul is meant to experience in this lifetime. We're not talking about being clairvoyant and, reading the future. We're talking about that inner knowing, that guiding force within all of us. And I always say that our intuition is like our own personal direct source to God. So if you are someone that struggles to identify your intuition and it feels confusing and you feel like you just aren't getting it, then this video I really think is going to help you. If you guys like this video, if you like this type of content, please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and come join the family over here. So the first thing I want to say, and this is maybe going to be a little annoying and not what you want to hear, but just stick with me. You might watch this video and then feel like, okay, I still don't really know what my intuition feels like. Like, I'm still confused. And that is okay. Because here's the thing, intuition is actually pretty difficult to explain to somebody. That's why I was saying you'll have that light bulb moment where you feel it and you're like, oh my gosh, that was it. I get it now. So that's why I want you guys to digest this information that I'm going to share with you in this video, because if you have all of this awareness and the tips and the advice that I'm going to give you, it's going to lead you to that light bulb moment, because then you are going to feel your intuition speak and you're going to be like, that's what she was talking about in the video. That's what I read in that book. It's going to click for you. So maybe you've heard some of these things that I'm going to talk about in this video. Maybe there's going to be some new information for you. But again, I really invite you to just listen and take it in, digest it, and then apply it to your life moving forward. The first thing that you need to know about intuition, and you have probably heard this before, but intuition really, truly does feel very calm and quiet and subtle. And that is why it's so important to quiet your mind. Because the thing with the mind, let me tell you, first of all, your intuition is not going to come from here. Your mind is so loud and it's so powerful and it can consume us, right? Have you ever been overthinking while you're driving your car and then you get to your destination and you're like, I don't even remember driving here because you're so up in your head? Or you're overthinking something, so you're pacing around your house and then 20 minutes later you're like, what am I doing? You get lost in your mind. But that intuitive nudge, if you notice, every time I talk about intuition, I go like this, because it's here. It's in your heart, it's in your soul, it's down here, it's your gut feeling, right? Your intuition doesn't come from your logical mind. So you have to be able to silence the mind, to quiet the mind. You have to be able to turn down that overthinking mind, because otherwise it's going to overpower the intuitive nudge. Okay, you won't even notice that your intuition is speaking because you're too preoccupied with the loudness of your mind. Intuition does not feel panicky. It's not loud. It's not unsettling. It doesn't feel scary. It doesn't make you like sweat and get all nervous. That's not intuition. That is anxiety. So that's the first thing you have to keep in mind is when it comes to intuition, when you have that worried feeling, that on edge, like restless, nervous, like jittery feeling, that's not intuition. Here's one of my favorite tips. This is such a good nugget of information, so please listen to this. When it comes to being able to discern intuition from a trauma response, right? Because you hear this a lot in conversation about intuition. It's like a big topic now that we're living in this Scorpio, like Pluto Scorpio generation where we're digging through our trauma. We're finally like addressing the fact that we're all traumatized. So a lot of people struggle with intuition because they often are experiencing fear, a trauma response. And they are like, is this my intuition or what is going on here? So here's the best way to tell the difference. When you feel that panicky feeling, that worried feeling, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, is this my intuition? I want you to stop and ask yourself if that feeling that you're having is a pattern. Let me give an example. Let's say that you are someone that has had very challenging relationships and you've been betrayed, maybe you've been cheated on a lot, you have experienced a lot of pain in relationships that has led you to a place where you find it very hard to trust people. So now let's say that you're dating someone new and you start to have that worried feeling of, are they lying to me? Are they cheating on me? Are they seeing other people? Can I really trust this person? And you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is totally my intuition warning me about this person. I want you to stop and ask yourself, do I have a pattern of doing this? Look back at your old previous relationships. Did you do the same thing with all of those relationships? Is it a pattern for you to feel this way and think this way? If so, that's a trauma response. That's not your intuition. That is fear. You are feeling fear as a result of past experiences that have hurt you. So now your ego is trying to keep you safe and protected. It's a defense mechanism, right? That's not your intuition. Let me know by leaving a turtle emoji in the comments if that hit home for you and if that was helpful. Let me know. Intuition feels very grounded in your body. And again, you might be listening to this like, okay, I still don't know what you're talking about, but I want you to have this information because it's going to come in handy later when you have that light bulb moment. So intuition feels very grounded. Okay, it feels very consistent and it's very present, but again, it's not loud, it's not panicky. It doesn't feel urgent. It just doesn't. It feels so calm. And it doesn't cause you to analyze, especially overanalyze. In fact, it doesn't even really cause you to think at all. You don't feel the need to think about it because you just feel it and you know it in here, like in this part of your body, not up here. Another thing is that our intuition is constantly but very gradually, okay, not in a dramatic way, but very gradually, it's guiding us towards expansion. Our ego and our logical mind will keep us in this cycle. It'll keep us in this loop of the predictable, the known, right? It wants to keep us safe. So it will keep us in this loop where we're doing the same thing over and over again and we're never stepping out of our comfort zone. Whereas our intuition does not operate that way. Our intuition gradually leads us to new experiences. It leads us out of our comfort zone. And you recognize it because it'll almost be this step-by-step journey of evolution. Like you can feel that you're moving forward. Your intuition moves you forward in life. It does not keep you stuck in a loop, because you have to remember that our intuition sees what we don't see and it knows what we don't know. So our intuition is 10 steps ahead of our logical mind. Our logical mind can really only see what it already knows, whereas our intuition is guiding us into the unknown. Intuition will guide you towards change. Your intuition is going to pull you out of your comfort zone. And that's where the fear steps in. That's where people start to get scared and think that that means it's like a red flag, like there's an alarm going off. But that's not true. Your intuition is going to lead you out of your comfort zone because you're meant to evolve. You're not meant to stay in the same place for your whole life. So our ego is a repeating cycle that thrives in the predictable, and our intuition sees beyond what we know, and it's constantly guiding us towards the next step. When your intuition is guiding you out of your comfort zone and you feel that fear coming up, that's not an intuitive message. That's just you being a human. That's you having, your own self-doubt or your fear of the unknown, the fact that something's uncomfortable and it's new and you can't predict it. It's self-imposed limitations or not really believing in ourselves, not trusting in ourselves. That's what the fear is. It's not your intuition telling you, oh no, this is a bad idea. When you are able to identify your intuition and you know that it is an intuitive nudge leading you somewhere, it's gonna make it a lot easier to trust the next step, because you know that, okay, even though this is out of my comfort zone and that might be a little bit scary, I know that my intuition is leading me here, so this must be right. It must be right. And so I just have to trust that. And by the way, if you want a trick for overcoming fear, the trick is that there is no trick. The trick is that you have to face your fears and take action anyways, even though you're scared. That's how you overcome your fear, is just by facing it. But what you don't want to do is let that fear hold you back from, embracing that intuitive pull in the direction that your soul wants you to go. Just because your intuition leads you somewhere and then you feel nervous and scared because it's out of your comfort zone, that doesn't mean that you're making the wrong decision. It just simply means that you're scared, and that's okay. When your intuition speaks, like I said, it's not gonna come from up here. You're gonna feel it in your heart, you're gonna feel it in your gut, you're gonna feel it like in the core. It really actually feels like it's coming from the center of your body or from your heart, or both. You really feel it down here. So it's really important to quiet your mind, like we said, but then you need to pay attention to the sensations that you feel in your body. I think this is the part that is hardest to explain. You feel it here, not here. Like truly. And so that's how you'll know. Whether you do this through meditation or journaling or going for a walk in nature or working out, whatever you do to quiet your mind and get into a more mindful, present state where you can get out of your head and into your body, that is where you're gonna really be able to hear and feel your intuition. It kind of comes in out of nowhere. Like, it doesn't come from somewhere. So that's another tip. It's not something that you're creating with your mind. You're not gonna create your intuition with your mind. It's going to seemingly come from nowhere, and it will just suddenly be present physically in your body. It kind of feels like it just comes from inside of you, right? Like, it doesn't come into your body, it comes from your body. One of my best and favorite pieces of advice for intuition, and this is especially helpful if you are trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing with your life, right? Like, what is my purpose? Or what career am I supposed to pursue? What am I supposed to study, right? Because so many of us are like searching. We're searching for like, what am I supposed to be doing? What is my purpose? Why am I here? So this is especially useful for that. Trust the things that inspire you. You guys have probably heard me say this before. Your inspiration, the things that you're passionate about, the things that inspire you, that is your intuition speaking to us. I think that's one of the most powerful ways And one of the most obvious ways that our intuition speaks to us is when we feel inspired, when something lights us up, when we feel so drawn and called to something. That is your intuition guiding you. And I've talked about this before in a video, like a million years ago, a very old video, but I like to use the example of a musician. Think about the person who loves music, right? Growing up, it's like their passion. They love music. They love to create music. It makes them feel alive. It's what inspires them. It's the way they express themselves creatively and artistically. And they want to be in a band and make it big and be famous and tour the world. And then that's not what happens, right? Maybe they pursue music, but it doesn't become their career. They don't make money from it. They don't make it big. They don't go travel the world performing music. So then what do? They throw it away altogether and they say, well, it must not have been right for me, because it didn't work. I wanted this to be my life and it didn't lead me there. So obviously I'm not meant to be a musician. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes you could ever make. Yes, maybe you wanted to be famous and travel the world and be, this superstar rock star, but that's really not why you loved music in the first place. You loved music because you were passionate about it, because it inspired you, because it lit you up and it made you feel alive. Just because that passion didn't lead you to where your ego, your mind wanted you to go, just because it didn't lead you to where you thought it would lead you, that doesn't mean that you should throw it all away. So often we will think that if we don't make it big, or if we don't make a hobby our career, then it just wasn't meant to be and we weren't meant to be doing that. And that's not true. You should always be doing it because that is what lights you up. That is what gets you into that flow state. It gets you out of your head and into your heart and into your soul, and your intuition is gonna thrive there. That's when your intuition is gonna come through really clear, and you're gonna recognize it and you're gonna notice it. Always follow the things that inspire you. Like, your inspiration is your intuition. If something inspires you, follow it. Even if it doesn't lead you to where your egoic mind wants it to go. It's almost like that passion and that inspiration is like a doorway. It's a portal. It's like the channel that you use in order to tap into your heart and your soul and your intuition. So I really hope that this video gave you some little nuggets of wisdom. I hope that this helped you make a little bit more sense of at least what to expect when your intuition speaks. That way, when it does speak, you will be able to identify it. Or when you go on with your life and you find yourself in a state of anxiety or fear, you can remember this and remind yourself, okay, that's not my intuition, right? Awareness is so crucial for this. You have to be able to discern the difference between fear or a trauma response and your intuition. So being able to identify what your intuition is or isn't is the very first step. So I really hope that this video helped you guys. Again, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I love you guys so much. Thank you for spending time with me today, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.